Hi lovely people, welcome back to my tutorial. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for your support. So now today's class we shall be looking at how to make an A-line gown with facing. So I'll be using this Ankara fabric for the gown and I'll be using this fabric for the facing. Okay, then I'll use this to make a design at the front and we are at the top of the facing. Okay, so I'll just go ahead now and fold this my fabric into 4 parts. Okay, I folded the fabric into 4 and I left about 1.5 inches for our zip allowance. Okay, all right, so the next thing to do now is to take the length of our gown, and the length I'm working with is 38 inches. I'll be adding extra inches for the folding. 38 inches. I'll add extra inch for the folding of the gown. I'll be adding two extra inches to the length. Okay, then the half length I'm working with is on the half length I'm working with is 16 inches. Then from the half length I will mark the hip line, which is 9 inches. Okay, so from here now I will take our shoulder measurements. Now the shoulder I'm working with is 15 inches into 2 to give us 7.5. I'll add extra half inch to it to make it 8 inches. Okay, I'll add extra half inch because of my sleeve. So I just added this half inch for the joining of the sleeve. So from this point now I'll mark my 3 inches, which is our constant for our shoulder slope. So coming down to this 8 inch now, I'll mark 1 inch. Okay, and at this point again I'll mark our bust, our armhole measurement, and the armhole I'm working with is 17 inches into 2 to give us 8.5. So from this 1 inch now I will mark our 8.5. So at those points I will make a straight line here. Okay, so this now will be serving as our bust measurement. Okay, then go ahead to mark our 8 inches. So I will join this to this. And I'll also join this shoulder slope, this 3 inches to this 1 inch here. Okay, so the next thing to do is to impute our bust measurement. The bust I'm working with is 38 inches. 38 inches into 4 to give us 9.5. So I'll mark my 9.5. Because this is not that fitted, I'll be adding extra inches to it. So here at the bust line I'll be adding 1 inch. Then I'll add 1.5 inch for our seam allowance. Okay, and the waist we are working with is 32 inches into 4 to give us 8 inches. Okay, 8 inches. Then I'll add extra 1 inch for these and 1.5 for our seam allowance. Then the hip I'm working with is 40 inches into 4 to give us 10 inches. Then at the hip also I'll be adding 1 inch and I'll add 1.5 for our seam allowance. Okay, so I have 10, 1, 2.5. I'll be having 12.5 at this hip line. So I'll just take this measurement down to the hem line. Okay, I'll just take this measurement down here. Okay, so I'll go ahead to connect all those ones. So here you just find the midpoint at this armhole side. Remember that what we have here is 8.5, so our midpoint will be 4.25. So I'll just place my curve ruler here, and I'll then make my connection, connect it to the bust. Okay, then for the so this second one will be for the front. So coming to the neckline, I'll be using a neck width of 3 inches, and for the back I'll be using 1.5 for the neck depth, and the front I'll be using 4 inches. I want it to have a slit at the front also, so I'll be having a slit excuse me, a slit of 3 inches, making everything 7 inches for the front part. So I'll just go ahead now and connect this to this, and I'll connect this to this. I'll just use my curve rule. So just go ahead now and cut this out. Okay, so now I have to separate the front from the back. I'll just go ahead to trim out the front armhole. So remember that we marked 3 inches here for the slit. So I'll just go ahead to open this up. Okay. So I'm going to use this now to cut out my front facing. Okay, and I'll be adding a lining to this fabric. So I'll use this to cut out the lining also. Okay, so I'll place this here. So the next thing to do is for you to, okay, I folded this into 2. Then the folded part, this other folded part will be facing each other. Okay, this folded part and the folded part will be facing each other. So what you have to do first is to consider if you want the facing to be equal with the for the two. If you want the two shoulder, to be equal, okay, but I don't want mine to be equal, so I just want it to stop somewhere here. Okay, somewhere here. So I'm going to sketch this out like so. Okay, and I'm going to sketch the neckline also. I'm going to sketch out the neckline. Okay, so the next thing is for you to consider where you want this to be. So I can as well follow from this my shoulder line. Okay, so I think my bust point is 10 inches. My bust point is 10 inches. So I want it to pass there. Since my half length is 16, I'll be stopping the facing at 14 inches. Okay, so this is my 14 inches here. Having marked this, I'll just quietly pull out this one. So this is it. So the next thing is for you to consider the type of facing that you want. Okay, here you make any design of your choice. I think we are going to be making something like this. Something like this. just trying to create something. Just trying to create something. Just make any design of your choice. I'll just go ahead and cut this out. So this is what we have. This is what we have. I'm not going to open up the slit yet. I'm not going to open it out till I fix it to the dress. So I'll just go ahead now. Use this, cut out my lining. Okay, I'll cut out my lining. I've cut out the pocket that I'll be fixing at the dress. Maybe this time I will show you how to fix a pocket at the dress, but my previous video I saw some comment of how do you fix a pocket to the dress. So I'll be showing you guys when I'm doing that. And here is my sleeve. I've made a tutorial on how to cut a perfect sleeve, okay? So maybe I'll drop the link at the description part. Just click and watch. Then with this I will cut out a lining for it. I will line it out, then place it I'll place it at the front. Okay, when I cut my lining for this, I will stitch out this place using the back piece. I will stitch out here. I will sketch out this by stitching it out. Okay, then I will follow from here to turn it out. Iron it, follow from here, turn it out, iron it, then you now stitch up those points. After that, I will place it at the front piece, at the front part of the dress. Okay, I will place it at the front part of the dress. Then I'll first of all stitch it out. Okay, I'll first of all stitch out the neckline. Then I will stitch this opening. This will guide me to stitch it out. So I'll be turning my clothes like this and make my stitch. Then after that, I will follow this and stitch at the tip of this dress. Then after which I will now go ahead to use this to make a little design. Okay, I'll use this to make a little design. Use this to make a little design like so at the top of my dress before using my lining now to turn it out. But assuming we are not using lining for it, I will just stitch this at the back, then flip it to the front part, then stitch it to the dress. Okay, so I'll just go ahead now and start my joining. I'll start by turning this out with my lining, then attaching it to the front piece before using my lining to turn it out. Okay, so I've stitched up the facing. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and turn it out from this side. Okay, so after turning it out, you have this. Okay, so I'll just go ahead now and run my stitch here. Okay, I'll make a stitch here round before attaching it to the body of the dress. Okay, so as you can see, I've stitched up this. Okay, like I said, you're going to stitch it, you're going to place the facing at the front part of your dress. Okay, then turn to the wrong side. Okay, just use a pin to hold it down, then turn to the wrong side so that this opening will serve as a guide. Okay, then after stitching it, you can now go ahead to open it up. Okay, so I will now use my lining, but before that, remember that here is still open, so I'll just go ahead now and make a stitch to hold this frame to the dress. I'll make a stitch around here, then after that I will use this just to make a little bit of design. Okay, I'm just going to stitch this at the tip also. All right. Okay, now I've stitched this out. So as you can see, I've changed to a matching thread. Okay, so as to suit this. So I'll be using this thread now to stitch this at the body. Okay, so I've neatly lined up the dress. Okay, so I'll go ahead and open this up, then make a notch at the neck lines, then turn it out through the armhole part. Okay, so after turning it, we have this. So I'll just go ahead now and join my shoulders, the back and the front shoulder. I'm going to join them, then add my armhole and use my body measurement. I'll include my seam allowance, then stitch it out before inserting our pocket. Okay, so now it's the time for us to fix our pocket to the dress. So when you look at here, from this point to this other point, it's 7 inches. Okay, it's 7 inches. So what you have to do now is just for you to open up this like so. Okay, open it up. So when you open it up, you also open this one, but make sure that when you are cutting the pocket that you have more than 7 inches at the mouth. Okay, it won't be equal with the opening of the dress. Okay, all right, so you just open this one like this, then open up your clothes, sew one at this side and sew the other one at this side. Okay, so this is what I mean. Open this up, sew one here, then when you turn the other side, this other one, you stitch it to this other side. Then note that this curved place will be facing the upper parts of your dress. Okay, to be facing the upper parts, while the straight one will be facing down. Okay, so I've stitched up the both side. Okay, so I will just go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so this is the result of our dress. As you can see the facing, that it comes out very beautiful. So thank you so much for watching till the end. Till we'll meet in my next class. Please don't forget to subscribe. Love you all. Bye.